very much. And just to say to Wasim, we're very, I'm sure I can say this for everybody, that we're very privileged to have you here this weekend and to be taking time out from what is a incredibly important time, not only for Egypt, but for all of us around the world. It's been an experience to have you here, and I think we've all learnt an awful lot from you, and it is an incredibly timely reminder of how big the fight is that we're in and how important it is for us to come out of here this weekend and try and get things right in this country so that we can bring the spirit of Egypt here and give support and solidarity to the people across the Middle East and across Europe who are fighting against the vicious austerity of the system that we live in. I was thinking just as we, of what I was going to say here tonight, I'm thinking of just a year ago, and it's quite amazing if any of you saw the awful documentary that was done inside the Cowan government, that it's only a year since the IMF arrived in this country. It's only a year since Chopra marched down the street past the picture of him walking past the beggar on the street. And that in that year, we've just seen the crisis get more and more severe, and we've seen just failed plan after failed plan across the Eurozone. First of all, it was Lenihan and Noonan running around, Lenihan and Cowan running around like headless chickens, trying to cobble together some kind of a deal, and now we've Kenny and Noonan rushing back and forth to Europe, saying we have it, it's all sorted, and then 3 days later, it all falls apart again. And that is this crisis is just getting more and more severe, and they do not have a way out of it. And also, it's in the last year that we've seen the magnificent protests and movements across the Middle East that have toppled dictator after dictator, and that have inspired the movements in Greece and Spain, and most recently the Occupy movement. And I think it's been to all our incredible frustration that we haven't seen the same kind of movements against austerity here on the streets of Ireland. And it's not like we don't need it. I mean, the cutbacks, the offensive against us is just getting more and more severe. Every day we get calls, as councillors in Richard's office, we get calls from people who are just up against it, who are getting cutback after cutback after cutback and making their lives more and more miserable. And what we have seen is what is called the riot in the ballot box here in Ireland. And certainly it was great to see the end of Fianna Fáil, and fantastic to see five ULATDs march against it all. But that in itself is not going to change anything in this country. And more importantly, I think it's the beginnings of kind of localized resistance that we've seen across the country. I mean, there was you hear reports, it's all quite fragmented, but you do hear reports of a meeting of 2,000 people to object to the closure of a nursing home down in Abbeyleix, or the big meetings that have happened in West Cork. Interestingly, most of the resistance we've seen, or the bigger resistance we've seen, has been around the issue of the health service, where the Limerick nurses who took very political strike action by walking out of their hospital, the first strike against a Labour Fine Gael government, walking out of their hospitals, and very politically, not for their pay, but because of the crisis in the A&E there. So we're seeing these flashpoints of small localized resistance, and in lots of places across the country. In Dunleary, we've had small protests.